When you think about what makes a business truly great, what comes to mind? Is it sales, marketing, innovation? Well, what if I told you the answer might be hiding in plain sight, in the hum of machinery, or maybe the quiet confidence of a factory that just works? Today, we're diving into the hidden power of maintenance and how it can literally transform a company from the inside out. Let's get into it.
Here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with a simple problem, a leaky faucet, and see how that idea scales up into a huge business challenge. Then, we'll look at the solution, built on 3 key pillars: people, process, and tools. And finally, we'll see how this all sets the stage for the factory of the future.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around a massive industrial concept, let's bring it home, literally. Let's start with something we've all been through, that simple and, let's be honest, often infuriating home repair job. Come on, you know the drill. You finally decide, today's the day I'm fixing that drip. You spend an hour just finding the right wrench. You make, 2-3 trips to the hardware store for a tiny part you thought you had, and a job that should take 30 minutes ends up eating your entire Saturday. Now picture a pro. They show up, toolbox in hand, right parts in the van, full of know-how. Boom, in and out in 45 minutes tops. That, right there, is the difference between chaos and competence. And this is where that simple story gets, kind of terrifying. What happens when that disorganization, that constant running around for parts and tools, that total lack of a plan, what happens when that's not just your Saturday afternoon, but the daily reality for an entire company? The fallout from that is absolutely staggering.
So this brings us to the core battle, really, the 2 fundamental ways any organization can operate. It's the difference between constantly running around putting out fires and having the forethought to stop them from ever starting in the first place.
On one side, you have the typical company. They're stuck in what we call firefighting mode. Everything's an emergency, costs are through the roof, and machines breaking down unexpectedly is just Tuesday. But on the other side, you have the world-class company. Everything they do is proactive and planned. Their costs are under control, and their operations are incredibly reliable, all because they've shifted from reacting to problems to seeing them coming a mile away.
And this isn't just a vibe, the numbers back it up. Take a look at this. Schedule compliance is basically a score for, did we do the work we planned to do? A typical company, they're lucky to hit 40%. But a world-class organization, they're hitting 80%, sometimes more. Think about that. They're literally getting twice as much planned, value-adding work done. The impact that has is just massive.
And here is the punchline for the CFO. World-class companies spend just 2 to 3% of their total asset value on maintenance. Now, this isn't about being cheap, it's about being smart. They spend money strategically to prevent failures, which in the long run saves them a fortune and boosts reliability. This isn't just an accounting detail, it's a massive competitive advantage. So, what's their secret?
Well, that brings us to the first, and honestly, the most important pillar. You might think the answer is some fancy new software or a robot, but the real transformation, the thing that makes it all stick, starts with the people.
It all comes down to culture. That's the shared mindset, the stuff that isn't written down in a manual. A strong reliability culture means everyone feels responsible for how well the equipment runs, from the CEO all the way down to the newest person on the line. The company's values become the real boss, guiding every decision. Reliability stops being just the maintenance department's problem and becomes everybody's mission.
And this quote from the book just says it all, doesn't it? You can have the best plan in the world, but it's just a piece of paper if you don't have people with the right skills and the right attitude to make it happen. Investing in your people. That's always step 1.
Okay, so once you have the right culture in place, you can build on it. And that's where you bring in the systems that turn that everyday chaos into disciplined control. This is pillar 2, the process.
First up is planning. This is all about the what and the how. Remember our professional plumber? The reason they were so fast is because the job was planned. They knew exactly what tools and parts to bring. In a factory, this means a planner has already figured out every step, every bolt, and every tool before a wrench is ever turned. No more wasted time.
Now, scheduling is different. That's the when and the who. This is the critical handshake between the maintenance team and the operations team. It's the agreement that says, okay, we're taking the machine down for 2 hours on Wednesday, and Sarah's going to do the work. It's that coordination that makes sure a great plan actually gets executed.
So the whole proactive flow looks kind of like this. You figure out the right work to do,
You create a super detailed plan for it, you schedule it with operations, you get it done efficiently, and then, and this is the magic part, you capture feedback to make the next plan even better. It's this amazing upward spiral of continuous improvement.
All right, on to our third and final pillar. Once you have the right people and the right processes, you can give them superpowers with the right technology and tools.
At the heart of any modern operation is the CMMS. Just think of it as the digital backbone, the central brain of the whole thing. It tracks every work order, every spare part, and, crucially, it builds a detailed historical record for every single piece of equipment. All that data is what lets you make smart, fact-based decisions instead of just going with your gut.
And this is where it gets really cool. Modern tools literally let us listen to what our machines are telling us. Vibration analysis, it's like a stethoscope that can hear a bearing starting to fail weeks before it actually breaks. Infrared thermography gives us heat vision, so we can spot an electrical connection that's overheating. Ultrasonic testing can hear the high-frequency hiss of a tiny air leak, while oil analysis is basically a blood test for a machine's engine, spotting wear particles that tell you something's wrong inside. This tech gives us foresight, the ability to fix things before they fail.
So, what happens when you bring all three of these pillars together? You get empowered people, running disciplined processes, armed with intelligent tools. When that happens, you're not just running a good factory anymore. You're actually building the factory of the future.
And that brings us to the doorstep of what everyone's calling Industry 4.0. We're talking about smart factories where everything is connected, where sensors are constantly feeding data to systems that can make adjustments on the fly. It might sound like sci-fi, but it is built on the exact foundation of reliability we've just been talking about. All the big drivers of this new revolution, the Internet of Things, big data, AI, they all rely on one non-negotiable thing: clean, accurate data coming from reliable assets. You can't have a smart factory if your machines are constantly breaking down. You see, world-class maintenance isn't just a nice-to-have for Industry 4.0, it's the launchpad.
Which leads us to the final question, the one you need to ask about your own organization. Every business has assets: machines, buildings, vehicles. Are yours actively driving value and giving you a competitive edge? Or are they just draining your time, money, and energy? The answer, as we've seen, lies in the hidden power of maintenance.